This is the person that I'm talking about. This is Charles Wagner. This man admitted robbing a bank so that he could stay in college at DeVry. He admitted this to me and Stephen Ross around the year 2001, 2002. He sang a few songs for me. He recorded some songs for me, but he had admitted this to me and Stephen Ross while he was in my house. And he said something like, he went to college. At first he thought he would just do this so he could, attract her because he loved her so much. He wanted to make sure that he was going to be the person that met her. Then he realized he was doing real well. He was so well in college. But then he started, he didn't have enough money to pay for rent. He was going to have to drop out of college. He knew he was going to lose his girlfriend. So he decided, he was going to make sure that he didn't lose his girlfriend. So he robbed a bank in Irving, Texas area somewhere around 1993, 94, 95 timeframe. This is what this man told me and Stephen Ross, Charles Wagner. This is, his wife right here, Stephanie Wagner. He called her Stephanie Wagner. And she has a sister who works in a mall in Texas. And I saw her recently, and that's when I remembered she met me as well. They used to look similar to each other, but all I know is I know that was her that I saw in the mall. And she, as soon as she met me, she saw Charles and she looked at me. She goes, "Charles, did you rob a bank?" And he goes, "What would you say that stuff for?" She goes, "I know who he is." I was like, "What do you mean you know who I am?" "He don't know what's going on, does he, Charles?" "Did you rob a bank?" "Charles, did you rob a bank?" "Charles, did you rob the Frost Bank in Irving, Texas?" "Charles Wagner." I believe she said the Frost Bank. But this man right here admitted robbing a bank in Irving, Texas while he was in college at DeVry. I was also in college at DeVry. I was not in his class. I'm going to show you what class I was in. So I'll show you that in a few minutes. I started college at DeVry in October of 1993. I graduated DeVry in June of 1995. These are the people that graduated from DeVry in June of 1995. This is my acceptance letter to DeVry. This is my acceptance letter to the United States Air Force. I went to DeVry after leaving the United States Air Force, after serving my duty and getting an honorable discharge. Um, I got out a little bit early because I asked for a early out. They were offered. They were offered under President Clinton. He offered early outs for any person who was within 6 months of their separation date, and it would be an honorable discharge. He would just release you early, and they were doing this to reduce the military. This video is being created because this is proof to where I've been. There are witnesses to events which unfolded at DeVry and Alcatel Networks USA. This video links people which are withholding the truth and the evidence about the conspiracy in which the Carter County Police and Oklahoma, Texas Police have against Brett Finnerty's life. There are some very important names in which I have placed circles around. Stephen Harkins, he is from the Hilton area and he is friends with Jason Miller. Janet Buchanan was working at Alcatel Networks USA when all these events had taken place, in which Lee Trent had been raped at Alcatel. Jeff Pando came marching into Alcatel, and they offered They gave Alcatel $1 billion for, not only the software that I had created, but which they used as a multiple processor state machine. But they purchased a lot of other stuff from Alcatel at that time. Janet Buchanan is a witness to that. Jeffrey Pando, he is a person of interest due to a story in which I'm about to tell you. Joseph Monju is a witness to the things which unfolded in our class. He knows things that he is not telling the rest of the world. He just retired from Intel Corporation somewhere around 2018, 2019 time frame. And now he's just off, living his life, while he's letting me be stalked by the police when I didn't do anything wrong. Joseph Monju is withholding the truth and evidence, which would stop a lot of this insanity. Edmond Young is a person of interest. He is the person who put rat poison underneath pepperoni on a pizza in which he was giving me while we were studying for a test. I thought that he was joking about putting rat poison on pizza. Ed Young was not joking about putting rat poison on the pizza. I got very sick the next day. My face was cream. There's several witnesses to what had occurred the next day. The witnesses, the instructor, the English instructor, she turned out to be Deborah Harris from Lone Grove. I think my English teacher in the seventh grade. She turned out to be my English teacher at DeVry. Other witnesses, every person circled in red on this page. Now, it was near the end of 1994, early part of 1995. It was right before we graduated. Um, we were doing interviews, and many corporations came down to do interviews for us. One was Intel Corporation, and they were hiring people, and they were most of the people that they hired, I think, were going to go to the Albuquerque, New Mexico area for one of the plants that they had there. Um, I interviewed with them. Many people did, but there's a story that Janet Buchanan had told me, and this kind of links Jeff Pando to something, conspiracy against my life with Intel Corporation in the year 1994. Jeff Pando or Joe Manju were going to be the top students of our classes, one or the other. Now, Jeff Pando, he was there. He was already a technician or an engineer or something, and he was there just for a refresher course, is what he told us. This is an expensive refresher course, is what I would say. But he told us he was there for a refresher course for some reason. So anyway, Janet Buchanan would have been the third top student in my class. I was the fourth top student. Now, Jana had said Jeff Pando was the first person to be interviewed by Intel Corporation. Janet Buchanan was going to be the second person. So Janet showed up early, and she just happened to be there when Jeff was there. And she said, "What happened?" This is what Janet Buchanan told me, Brett Finnerty, back when I was in the fry. She said, the door opened, and Jeff Pando said, and it was for the interview, and for Jeff Pando, he goes, "Hi, I'm Jeff Pando. Brett Finnerty's here." And then Jeff Pando went in for the interview and came back out later. But Jana, she said something to me. She said, "Brett, do you not understand what I'm saying?" He said, "I'm Jeff Pando. Brett Finnerty's here." Why would he say that to Intel Corporation? You're the fourth top student of the class. Jeff Pando is the first top student or the second top student. Why would he say, "I'm Jeff Pando. Brett Finnerty's here"? Why would you say that, Jeffrey Pando? Why'd you come marching into Alcatel right after I wrote the software for multi-core processor state machine? I mean, it was supposed to be a functional test, but they used it for multi-core processor state machine because of the way I was using the addressing and stuff.